Hello. I am a couple of minutes early because I'm just sitting here, so I was like, might as well. Also, my husband's home, my kids are home, so you're gonna hear them in the background. Tis life. My AirPods don't hold a charge anymore. Otherwise, I'd put them in. So you couldn't hear them, but it is what it is. Anyway, you guys, welcome. Welcome. Today, we're going to be talking about our thoughts on what month was it? April's book was The Two Towers by J.R.R. Tolkien. And yeah, we're just going to sum up everything. I don't know if anybody's here. If you're here, say hi. If you read the book, let me know what you rated the book. And yeah, we'll wait a few minutes for other people to join us. So it's me and my Alani against the world. This is the Lime Slush by Alani. I don't think it's my favorite. I feel like if it's not ice cold, it has a really weird aftertaste to it. I don't know, but I bought it, so here we are. Yeah, so we're officially in May. It's crazy that we are almost halfway done with 2026. It's crazy, actually. Also, June's pick is, as of right now, so I have a Discord group for this book club. As of right now, June's pick is I posted a poll over on, hang on, let me get my thoughts straight. I posted a poll over in the Discord. What me and Katie conversed about some books that we might want to read as a brain break coming out of The Lord of the Rings. And the books that we threw out there were People We Meet on Vacation, The Devil Wears Prada, Crazy Rich Asians, Margot's Got Money Troubles, and then Bridget Jones's Diary. And as of right now, People We Meet on Vacation is winning. So that's going to be a reread for me and a rewatch for me because I've read and watched both of those. But I listened to People We Meet on Vacation, and I feel like I need to read it physically to really get into it, because I read that at the time when I was just getting into audiobooks, and I didn't realize that I don't like romance on audio. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I feel like Ricky and Carly are the ones here, and they already know because I've already talked about this with them. Hi, y'all. You gave Two Towers 3.5. Ricky, what did you give it? I gave Two Towers, I battled with it. I deep down to its core, I think it's more of a 4.5 for me, but I gave it a 5, or I'm giving it I don't think I did it on Goodreads, but I'm giving it a 5-star on Goodreads because I feel like it's more of a 5 than it is a 4. My only thing that makes it not be a 5-star is during some scenes, with them trees, I just was like, can we go somewhere, do something? I don't know. So that's my only that couldn't make it a 5-star. I also am taking into consideration that this will not be my first and only time reading this trilogy. I am still struggle busing it with all the names and stuff. So I have my name page here. So because I keep getting Saruman and Sauron confused, because I don't even know if I'm saying them right. So I feel like the more I read it, the more picky I could be with my rating. But as a first time read and watch, I deep down it's a 4.5, but on Goodreads I'm giving it a 5, if that makes sense. But at the same time, this is going to sound really strange, but I mean, in the sense that I don't know how to explain it. But there are some books that I read that just feel cozy. I don't know how to explain it. And it's not even a cozy series because it's rather dark. But at the same time, it feels cozy. It feels like a comfort. That is so weird to say, but I mean, maybe you understand what I'm talking about. We got a 5-star and a super fan. Maybe you can teach me how to say some of these names. I feel like I need to rewatch some of the movies. Like I need to like get in practice of watching the movies in the background. You know, like when my kids are at school, I can like turn it on and like just have it going, and maybe it'll help me get used to saying the names and stuff. I don't know. See, I feel like they're very much the same. The Sauron and the Saruman. I just have to remember the longer one is the white wizard, like the wizard that's like dressed in white. And then Sauron is the creepy transformer looking dude. The transformer tree dude. I don't know what he even is. I know the film influenced my rating. I'll be honest, I struggled with the pacing of the book versus the film. And that film was long as fuck. That film was long as fuck. And then when I when I was reading the book, and it was talking about the trees, I don't even remember what they're called. Ents, and how they had that meeting, and it said that they talk so slow that their meeting lasted 3 days. Count me out. Count me in my ADHD out. Because what do you mean? I don't know. I know that Tolkien loved trees and nature and stuff, which is most likely like the big influence of the series, because I feel like the series, a heavy theme is like nature versus technology. I don't know. Sauron. See, I don't even know. Sauron. Them trees bored me. I feel like I liked Tom, what's his name? Tom Bombadil or whatever, more than I liked the tree people. And I feel like that's not a popular opinion. That's just my opinion. I don't know. Anyway, I do have a few questions that I wrote down, or that I have some written down on my paper, and then I have some on the computer because I can type faster than I can write. So we have ratings. I feel like it's just us, me and my 3 friends. Where are we at? Okay, my tab. Okay, let's see. My question, my notes paper. We'll go with, so we got our ratings done. So we'll talk about characters. Who is your favorite character? So when we watched and when we read book 1, did your favorite character stay the same going into book 2? No, probably all of you have, this is rereads for you. This is my first time. So I want to know, like, who is your favorite character? Were they your favorite character in both book 1 and book 2? Did your favorites change from book 1 to book 2? Let me know on that one. I will go first. So my favorite, when we were watching it last night, we call him Baby Daddy. That's his name for the group chat. My favorite character, well, okay, my favorite character in The Hobbit was Gandalf. And then in book 1, it was Gandalf until it wasn't. And then it went to Sam. And then I think in book 2, it was Sam. But I feel like Gandalf feels different in book 2 than he felt in book 1. And I like, obviously that there's a reason why, because of everything that happened. But I think it's Sam. And I just feel like, because Sam is just there because he's a ride or die. And he's truly that. Sorry, my computer's being weird. All the fellowship, and I think everyone is important. The only ones that I don't care about, well, actually, the only one that I don't really care about is Legolas. Hang on. Where's my cheat sheet? Where's his name at? How do you pronounce it? When I read the book, I call him Lego. Legolas. Anyway, Orlando Bloom. I don't really it's not that I don't like him. I feel like his character doesn't really stand out like the other characters do. If you put a gun to my head, I'll pick Sam. Sam made me cry a lot. I feel like Sam's also a crier. Sam is like, I feel like Sam is an empath, I think. I get that vibe from him. And I feel like the person they chose to play Sam in the my husband, what's their password for their tablets? The person that got to play Sam in the movie, I think, did a fantastic job. Hang on. Talk amongst yourself. Their tablets are like on lockdown, so they have to have a password for anything they want to do. You know, because better safe than sorry. And Paul doesn't know it. Gandalf is my favorite in the Fellowship, and Aragorn and Sam are my favorite in the Two Towers. The casting is perfection. Big three. I like Aragorn. I like him more in the second book. Same thing, potato, tomato, than I did in the first one. I feel like in the second one, in the first one, he was just getting into the role of being like a leader, if you will. But then in the second one, he really like honed down on being a leader of the group. I feel like he had to, but also at the same time, I feel like he was born to be a leader. I'm a Samson, a Gandalf Moon, and the Aragorn Rising. I don't know what any of that means. I did not fix my hair today. Sorry about that. I did wash it, though, and blow dry it, so you're welcome. Okay. Let's see. Gollum. Let's talk about Gollum for a minute. Did you think that Gollum is sympathetic or evil or both or unmedicated? Do you think he could have been saved? And also, did it confuse you when reading Gollum, like him talking to his inner self? Like, did it feel confusing to you? I felt like sometimes it was confusing to me, but then watching the movie, it didn't seem confusing. Hey, Erica. I struggled with Gollum because I feel like one of his, he's talking to himself. And I feel like one of his selves is like sympathetic. And then one of his selves is like purely evil. And I feel like the evil one wins out a lot. But then I don't know, because I feel like I keep going back to the beginning of the Fellowship, and how he got the ring was quite evil. What he did. And so like part of me is like, Beth, you have to remember that, he's a murderer. We can't just sit here and have sympathy for everybody. Like, not everybody deserves to have sympathy. I don't know. I struggle with that. So I would like to know. Sorry, I'm getting over an illness and my throat's very itchy today. His backstory is very sad. Did they go over more of his backstory in the final book? Gollum is very complex. You got to remember how long the ring has influenced him. I don't think he's evil, but I do think he'll do anything it takes for the ring. True. That damn ring has caused this entire thing. The whole time I was watching this movie last night, I was like, all of this for what? All of this for, I know if like they let the bad people, the orcs or whatever, if they let Sauron get the ring, then it's going to end humanity. So like, yes, it is something to like fight for, but at the same time, like, all of this for a ring. That's crazy, Some of the story in the third movie. Okay. I remember like at the beginning of the Fellowship, it kind of goes over a little bit of his story of like how he murdered his cousin or whomever, and how I know he like, it mentions that he like comes from Hobbit lineage or something like that, which makes me like wonder, because the ring, like if you have greed in you, if you have like this will to be like the boss or powerful or whatever, the ring pulls all of that out. And so hobbits in general don't have any of that. They don't have any like ambition in life. They don't want to be, a boss babe. They don't want to be, anything. They just want to live and eat, and that be that. And so I feel like the ring doesn't do as much damage to them as it would on, say, like a normal person or someone who does have all of that in their heart. So like in book 1, or technically actually it happened at the beginning of book 2 with, oh my gosh, what is his name? Starts with a B. With him, hang on, I have to find his name. Boromir was a man, correct? And so like men are the most weakest of all of the race, or what do we call them? Is it race? Not race. Species? I don't know. You know what I'm talking about, like hobbit, human, orc, whatever. The humans are the weakest, and so he didn't even have to put the ring on for the ring to like do damage to him. So I feel like if anyone were to hold this ring and make it affect them like the least amount, the perfect choice is a hobbit. You know, I don't even know how I got on that. I don't even know what I was talking about. Anyway, the one ring, though, it's the power to rule everything. It's all for the power. I know, but like, just really think about it. If you lived in that world, not in like where the hobbits live, not in Hobbiton or whatever, but anywhere else, that does not look like a life that I would want to live in. It don't look like nobody owns a bathtub. I don't know how. What is his name? I need to make some flashcards. Saruman, whatever, the White Wizard. I don't know how he stays so clean, because everybody else looks like, I don't even know. And then they look just like hot and like all these bodies everywhere. And there's not even like a place to sit down. I don't know. I would just be like, go ahead. End me, because I wouldn't. I just feel like what would be the point to even exist if that's like the world? You know? Am I making any sense? I don't know. Now, to live in the Hobbit world, that looks like a party, okay? That looks like a place where I want to be. No, Carly, from what I remember, he's def a hobbit. Do you think if I Google this, it will not spoil me to book 3? Hang on. Oh, look, I just typed in was SM, and the first thing that popped up was he a hobbit? It says, yes, Smeagol was a hobbit, specifically belonging to the Store branch, one of the 3 early hobbit types, known for their affinity for water and fishing. He was not a typical Shire hobbit, but rather a river folk type living near the Anduin River, who became corrupted and physically twisted by the One Ring for over 500 years. And you see, I feel like if it would have been just a regular schmegular person, they wouldn't have lasted the 500 years. I want to say it says somewhere that that's the reason why he had lasted so long, is because he had hobbit in him. But he was, according to Google, a hobbit. A Store hobbit of the river folk. Those are the ones like at the beginning when they're leaving the Shire. Don't they like come across the river folk? Like those are the ones that live right outside the Shire. One of the early kinds. So that's good to know. I wonder why he don't cut his hair off though, because I don't like looking at that. Okay. I wrote down some notes. I didn't go as detailed as last time because I was in a rush because I waited last minute to finish this book. Let me just tell you. Okay, if you had to choose between one, Gandalf or Aragorn, which one would you pick? And like as like the more important character, Gandalf or Aragorn, as the more important to the story. Honestly, possibly Carly. Both of them. LOL. Both. I don't know. Okay, so I feel like my connection with Gandalf was a little disconnected in book 2. I feel like Gandalf was also disconnected from Gandalf in book 2. He had to like even remember like, oh, Gandalf is his name. I feel like he's important, especially now that he actually has powers to kill people. Because I feel like Gandalf prior, like the happy, smart-ass Gandalf that we all know and love, like, yes, he's a powerful wizard, but he's not as powerful as this new Gandalf. But Aragorn, I feel like without Aragorn or Sam, I don't think these people would have lasted as long as they've lasted. I feel like those are the two like people that got them to where they needed to go. I don't know. Okay. Another thing I wanted to talk about is the ring affecting Frodo. So I feel like I saw more. I don't know. I feel like I saw it affect him more in the movie than I did in the book, but it could just be because like in some of the scenes in like just his face, it just gave meth head, you know? Um I don't know what I wrote ring that as one of my things, but I don't know where I was going with that. And then also, we talked about this last live, the ring. Do you think it's purely evil, or do you think it reveals what's already inside people? I think the ring is purely evil. Because I feel like I don't feel like a hobbit is an evil. Well, some of the people were very mean. Some of the hobbits were quite mean because they were like wanting to take Bilbo's stuff and what have you. But I don't think it's like Gollum level mean. I don't think hobbits have that in them like that. So I just think that it's just purely evil. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? And does anybody else have any other talking points? Because Katie's not here, and I don't know where I feel like I'm just like caller number 3. Somebody call in and talk. You think the ring is? I think the ring is pure evil as well. And I'm assuming most of his. Hang on, my computer like blocks off. There's like on StreamYard, there's a little thing that keeps blocking the newest comment. Oh, okay. He put some of his, I can't see that word, into the ring. So the ring is somewhat, okay. That makes sense. I feel like I'm going to have to go back and reread all of this. I thought about going back and rereading book number 1 and then book number 2 and then book number 3, but I feel like that might put me in a slump, and that's probably not a good idea because I feel like I'm coming out of a slump. Okay, now I can read it. It is purely evil because Sauron put most of his being into the ring, so the ring is somewhat. Okay, that makes sense. Power isn't necessarily evil, but power most often corrupts. Maybe the way the ring was made, it's almost impossible not to be. Well, if he put some of his being into the ring, with the way he looks, he's definitely 100% evil. So, like, I don't know. All I know is don't let that ring come by me. I don't even want to know. And I don't even know where book 2 is going to go. Don't spoil me. Book 3. Don't spoil me for book 3 because I'm like, but like, so the big spider thing, I don't forget its name. We're in spoilers, by the way. Sorry. We've probably been in spoilers for a little bit. The big spider thing essentially paralyzes Frodo, and Sam puts on the ring. So now we've done traded places with why is it sorry this hang on. I don't want it to stay up for 10 seconds. Timer off, save. And so now, and then they close the doors, whatever. And so now we have no idea where the hell Frodo's at or what's going on. But now Sam has the ring, which I think is a good thing because I feel like the ring was getting to Frodo, which was very quick. Because if Gollum had the ring for 500 years, I don't know. I feel like the ring, Bilbo also had the ring. Did it affect Bilbo that quickly? I don't remember. I don't know how long they've been on this journey. Does it say? Let me Google. How long did Google is really weird. I just typed in how long did, and all the searches are how long did Smeagol have the ring? How long did Gollum have the ring? How long did Bilbo have the ring? How long did Frodo have the ring? How long? Oh, I'm not going to. Okay. How long did it take from book 1 to the end of book 3? No, 2. I don't know how to word it. Okay. From Frodo leaving the Shire in book 1 to the end of book 2, it took 3 months. So he only had the ring on his person for 3 months. And just to think, 3 of those days was just a meeting with the trees. Okay. Where's the comments? Google is listening. That's creepy. Look, my hair is so frizzy right there. The ring must be aware of Frodo's intention to destroy it, so it's working overtime on him. Ooh, that could be true. That's really freaky to think that the ring could be aware, because it's literally just a ring. Anyway, book 3. And then I've recently got some other books in this whole universe situation. What is it? Is it Similarian, similar, whatever? You know the book I'm talking about. That might be the one that I dive into, not immediately after the trilogy, because I feel like the trilogy in itself is a lot for someone who, like I've read fantasy and I read fantasy, but like this is like intense. I feel like, because it's. What's really intense about it is keeping up with everybody because I cannot pronounce a damn thing. And when I can't pronounce it, I can't remember it. Anyway, I also want to read his biography. Gandalf mentioned that Sauron didn't suspect their plan to destroy the ring. Oh. And then I hear that in book 3, it's going to be very... And also, going into book 1... or reading book 1, I cried twice. Well, I cried twice. I cried once while reading the book and then once at a different spot while watching the movie. And then in book 2, it was emotional as well. I don't think I cried, but like I wanted to. At the part where you know what happens. And then I hear that book 3 is much more emotional. And going into this trilogy, I didn't expect it to get emotional until most likely the last book. So I don't think I'm ready for this. I feel like Gandalf's gonna die again. Technically he's not alive, but like technically I don't want him to die. Technically he's a wizard. Technically he should be able to live forever. Technically, but the world is tough. Anyway. So yeah, let me check on my note thing. Hang on. Oh man. Do you think the Ents feel meaningful or slow down the story? What do you think they represent? Why do you think Tolkien made them a thing? Because I feel, for me personally, I feel like they don't go well with the story. I mean, they do, but like, at the same time, it's like really, really dark. And then all of a sudden you have these trees. You know what I mean? And then, like, yes, they were very beneficial, because if it wasn't for Merry and Pip, like, making friends with them and telling them the story and what's going on, then that whole war that we had in book 2 probably would have went completely different than what it did. So I am grateful, thankful, and blessed for them to be there. But at the same time, it just felt like, wow, this is so random. Kind of like when, I don't want to bring up this series, but when I was reading Harry Potter and then all of a sudden they have these talking fucking spiders in the woods, I was like, what? This is so random. You know? I don't know, but somebody mentioned last night in the I always forget their real name, in, like, other than their username, mentioned that Tolkien loved nature and loved trees, and so that's most likely why he, like, made these trees a very important part of the story. I don't know, but I just felt like, also the ends, I think, represent, okay, that, because I read somewhere that a lot of the theme for this trilogy is, like, nature versus, like, the technology or the industrialization. So that makes sense, because he was more so a nature man. I just would really love to meet him. I do not want to live in the time that he lived in, but I just feel like he would be such an individual to know. Just from, like, the little bit that I know of him. I haven't even, like, dived into anything, just from the little things that I've Googled or that I've seen. So, like, the fact that he loved, because when I was reading this, I kept telling myself, I was like, why couldn't he just give these people some normal-ish names? I'm not talking like normal, like Beth or Jennifer or John, but like normal-ish, to where it's like kind of easy to remember. But then I had to remind myself, like, this man was in love with language. And of course, he's not going to pick, like, Rebecca, he's going to pick something else, something that he just created. He created a whole language and then made this world so that he could use this language that he created, which is absolutely insane. And he was in wars. He was in World War I, I think it was, or II. He was friends with some really cool people. I don't know. He just seemed like such a person to be around. I wonder if his son was like him as well. And I Googled the other day, his son is also passed away now, but I wonder if his son was like him in a way. Not like an author, even though his son did put out a lot of his dad's work, but, like, I don't know. Oh, that's true, Ricky. All I know is I put Treebeard on 2 times speed when I was listening to the audiobook. He's fascinating. All his kids are just all okay. I knew he had one, which was Christopher Tolkien. I didn't know he had, which I think Christopher Tolkien would be like, because I think, hang on, either Christopher or J.R.R. Tolkien was born the same time my grandfather was, which, if my grandfather was still alive, he would be 100 this year. Hang on. Beth, if you could spell. See, I just typed in Christopher, and the top one was Christopher Tolkien. English academic. Okay. Steward of Middle Earth. What a job title. Oh, he died in 2020 in January, so he didn't get to witness. Oh, I forgot. There's a whole thing called TolkienGateway.net. It's trying to verify that I'm not a bot before I can enter the website. Is this the website? Somebody said there's like a whole, it's not Wikipedia, but it's similar to Wikipedia. Like, there's a whole, like, Tolkien encyclopedia thing online, like a whole search engine just for Tolkien stuff. I think this is it, but maybe not. But it won't let me in. It's Tolkien Gateway. Oh, it was the third and the youngest son of J.R.R. Tolkien and Edith Tolkien. It's not going to let me in. The website uses a security service to protect against malicious bots. Girl, I'm not a malicious bot. Oh, he was born. Okay. Christopher Tolkien would have been 100 2 years ago. So he died at 95. They got some good blood. Because his daddy died super late and he died super late. And his daddy done went through a war and everything. And being that he was that old, he probably was in a war as well. They look alike. Oh, 4 children. John Francis Reuel. I wonder why he didn't have the... Okay, wait. And Michael, or is that Michelle? Michael. Hillary Reuel. Christopher John. So, hold up. Their last name's not really Tolkien? Christopher John Reuel and Priscilla Mary Ann Reuel. Priscilla died in 2022. She lived the longest. So their real name ain't Tolkien. The Tolkien family is an English family of German descent whose best known member is J.R.R. Tolkien. You know what? Matter of fact, while we're here, what is his real name? What is his full government name? And I said, what is J.R.R.? And it said, what is J.R.R. Tolkien's real name? Electron. And let me tell you what, I went to, was it Google or, Amazon or Walmart? I went to order something and I typed something in the search bar. And you know how like when you're on Google, like on your phone and you type something into Google, the very first thing at the top is an AI bot. And also, hang on, let me type in something, hair, scissors. And now on Amazon, if you type something in at the very top, it's AI. Literally, it's inescapable now. I feel like it's the new Google. Anyway, his name is John Ronald Reuel Tolkien. So wait, so his kids just got Reuel as their middle name, or is it their last name? Reuel, his father's middle name, which was Hebrew meaning of friend of God. That's cute. Tolkien, not talking. I'm so confused with this. Okay, anyway, sorry. Okay, wait. Okay, hang on. 2 boys and 2 girls. You really are a super fan. I thought Christopher was his nephew. No, girl, it's his son. Oh, I'll have to check that website. I think I'm thinking of Bram Stoker. Bram Stoker, I have a book. This is Dracula the Undead, and it's written by Dacre Stoker, which I believe is his grandson. The great grandnephew of Bram Stoker. And I also have another book written by him as well called, I have all of these and I've never even read Dracula, which has Dacre Stoker with J.D. Barker. I wish, you know what, my parents, let me tell you something. Let me tell you how much of a deadbeat. My dad, my real dad, went to college. He has a college degree. He was a professor at a college, in my hometown. And he got married and he had 2 kids. Got a divorce. Got married again and got with my mom and had 2 kids. Him and my mom divorced before I was even 1. I was maybe like 4 months when they got a divorce. Okay. We had no idea that he had 2 other kids, which is why I have 2 sisters, both with the name Jennifer, because Jennifer that shares name dad with me and Jennifer that shares name mom with me. Anyway, and then my dad got remarried again and had another little boy with his third wife and then got a divorce. So here he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kids. Got to pay child support on all 5 kids. Okay. Because if he would have had 5 kids with one woman, I want to say you only have to pay child support for like the first 3 or something like that. But if you have it with multiple different women, you stuck paying child support on all of them. So this idiot quit his job and worked under the table my whole life, essentially, just so he didn't have to pay child support. Meanwhile, and I've only seen him maybe 3 times in my life, and he lives in my hometown, and he looks like, I'm not going to lie to you, he looks like a mix of Abraham Lincoln and Ted Bundy. Like if they would have had a son, because he looks like Ted Bundy, but he has Abraham Lincoln's, what are these called, cheekbones, which is why, like, when I'm not overweight, like I'm overweight, I also have really prominent cheekbones because I get them from my father. Meanwhile, you got people like fucking J.R.R. Tolkien leaving a whole world to their kids. It's not fair. And my mom, all she left me was debt. She's gone though. Okay, anyway, sorry. Oh, sorry, Carly. Hang on a second. Tolkien Gateway, I think. I heard Chris and Mads talk about it. That like I'm not part of their Patreon, but I remember them talking about like if you ever need to like research anything about Middle Earth, there's a whole like online encyclopedia. And I think it's Tolkien Gateway. I could be wrong. But anyway, there's that. And let's see. I would suggest Nerd of the Rings here on YouTube, and any questions you may have, you can find them there. Oh, let me write that down because I've been having some questions. What were some of the questions I was talking about last night? I don't remember. Oh, about like the power and the hobbits situation, and then something else. Like there were a few questions that even the person that's in our Discord that is a Tolkien fan couldn't even give me couldn't give me like a valid answer until after we complete the trilogy, just in case they spoiled anything. But let me write that down. Nerd of the Rings. I'm so hot. I feel like I'm not running fever, but I feel like, like when you're not running fever, but you feel like you're trying to get fever. I don't know. But like I feel hot and I got a headache, but I don't got a fever. Okay, hang on. Anyway, I've been collecting the there's the illustrated editions of all of the Tolkien books. I have a list of them. That's by, hang on. I would get up and get them off my bookshelf, but I'm lazy. But they look like this. And there's like 4 or 5 different box sets. I have the first 2 box sets. This is the one that I just got. So this one has the Silmarillion. And then it has Unfinished Tales, the Book of Lost Tales Part 1, and the Book of Lost Tales Part 2. And that person, it's something Baggins. Y'all, if you're in the Discord, you know who I'm talking about. They said, because I asked them, I said, do we get any like lore, like Gandalf lore, like to know his life prior to The Hobbit, like things that happened before? And they said it's in Unfinished Tales. There's more information on Gandalf. So I do want to get to that as well. But I have a whole list. Let me find it. Of all of, here's my eyeglasses. I want to get new eyeglasses. I bought these clear ones because they're like the snap-on, and I hate it because like the little plate that you snap onto your glasses flies off. Like if you talk with your hands a lot, do not recommend. It's funny because I see so many people get sponsored by them, and it's people who don't wear glasses. And they're like, mine are not prescription, but why are y'all paying people who don't even wear glasses to promote glasses? That makes no sense. But I don't recommend it. I like these frames, but I hate the clear because I have that paper. I just miss having. Anyway, I have a whole paper of like 20 or 30 books from the Tolkien universe that I want to get. I don't know where it's at now. Oh, here it is. And it has all of them. So it's like Hobbit, Fellowship of the Ring, Two Towers, Return of the King, Book of Lost Tales 1 and 2, and then The Children of Hurin, The Fall of Gondolin, The Fall of Numenor, Unfinished Tales, Tales from the Perilous Realm, The Hobbit Sketchbook, Tolkien's Diary, The Legend of whatever, Beowulf, The Fall of Arthur. There's a whole bunch that Christopher Tolkien like put together and published. The People of Middle Earth, that might be a good one to look at. The Lost Road, The Shaping of Middle Earth, The War of the Ring, The Treason of if he came out with all of these books, the thing is like how much stuff was left behind from J.R.R. Tolkien? Was it, and in my brain I envisioned just like notebooks after notebooks after notebooks of just like manic notes that he was like probably writing at 3 o'clock in the morning, you know? Because like that's crazy. Oh, I think I saw those. Do they come with like a slip case? I think I saw those before. And I mentioned them to my husband, and my husband was like, you might want to wait until you read them, because what if you don't like them? Because they were kind of expensive. I think I saw it. And they're like bigger than a regular book, I think, if it's the one that I'm thinking about. Or are they like solid red, solid green, solid gray? I don't know. But I did see some. Hang on. My husband was like, why don't you wait until you, because you know me, I like to buy the whole series before I even dive on in. Was it this one? This like blue one? Maybe? Or there was another one that I saw. These are the ones with the slip case, but they're a little bit more expensive. But I decided to collect the other ones that I have because most of these books come in that edition. So then I'll have like all of them to match, you know? I feel like I hear people say the Silmarillion is tough to read. I guess because it's like reading a textbook. You read this? I can't pronounce Silmarillion. Oh, it has history of Gandalf as well. Okay, no, it was something that was more affordable. Oh, okay. There are some. It's crazy how many different. We went to my, what would you call it, cousin-in-law. Paul's cousin's house for Christmas is where we go every year, and he's a Lord of the Rings fan. He hasn't read the books; he's only seen the movies. But he recently had bought an expensive box set off of eBay for like $900. And he's like going through it, and it looked nice. But part of me was like, I'm pretty sure I saw that on Amazon for like $40. But I want to say, I mean, it could have been different. But he was like, yeah, I paid like $900 for it on eBay. And I was like, well, you must really love it. Okay, it's tough if you have no previous knowledge of the history, and I don't. I think this is a series that I'm going to have to read a few times to like fully grasp, the world, or even watch the movies. Because I will say, so when I read the first book maybe like 70%. And then I watched the movie. And then when I went back to finish the first book, I could it was so much easier to read after I had watched the movie, because I then could, it like helped me separate the characters because I can visualize them in my head versus just trying to remember what these characters are like without that, you know what I mean? And then last night we watched Two Towers, and I did not finish the book last night either. I maybe had read 80% before I watched the movie last night. So I definitely think constantly like revisiting these will help me better grasp it. So that way, because I just like the idea of being able to talk, like, you know, like when you meet people that really know their shit. So like if you meet someone who like I'm a Taylor Swift fan, but I'm not like that type of fan. Like, but if you meet a Taylor Swift fan that knows the lore behind everything and can connect the dots and the Easter eggs and all of this, and like you can just see their passion for it, it just like makes me jealous. Not jealous like that they know it, but like jealous that I don't have something like that, that I'm just like, I know every fucking thing about and can just sit here and nerd talk. Or like with Stephen King, you know, like there are some people out there have read all of his books and can just like go into detail. Oh, did you know that this store in this book is actually the store from Needful Things and you know, and it's just like, I love that. And like I like watching that. And like if I like go somewhere and there's somebody and I know that they can geek out over something, I'll bring it up just so I can like ask questions to see them like geek out over whatever. I don't know. It's really cool. And so I was like, this is something that would be really cool to, because there are people that do know and can know and whatever stuff about Middle Earth and whatnot. And to like have conversations and like theorize and stuff with them, like, oh, do you think this, that, and the other? Because I do feel like there's some stuff that maybe you do have to theorize or like come up with your own thoughts because maybe there's not answers to it. Like, as far as I know, there's not full blown answers to Tom. I do have a book I was sent by the publishers years ago. Tom. It was like I only and this was before I even had any Tolkien books on my shelves. They sent it to me, and I kept it because I was like, "Oh, it's by J.R.R. Tolkien." I had no idea that this Tom character was even in the Lord of the Rings. I thought it was just like another book that he wrote, but I have that one on my shelf. But like, I know there are people that say like Tom is Tolkien, like that was him writing himself into the story, and that is why Tom knows all, and Tom is not affected by the ring, and Tom like, and he's like such a happy character and whatnot. And I feel like, I don't know. And then there's other people saying that Tom is like a god, and that's also why like he knows everything and not affected by the ring, and he's been there since before Middle Earth existed and whatnot. I don't know. I don't know. You know what I mean? See, and I do too. And because like when we read book one, and then in the chat, I don't remember if it was in when we went to go watch the movie, people in the chat were saying like, I'm so glad that Tom's not in the movie. And I'm just like, wait a minute, what? Am I missing something? And then I was like, I liked Tom. I like Tom more than I like the trees. But I feel like that's not a common thing. I don't know. I liked his character. I would recommend you do the same with Game of Thrones. They are dense and the show helps remember characters. Okay, so I haven't read Game of Thrones, nor have I seen any of the Game of Thrones stuff. I do own all the books though, because I have a fear of, not a fear, this is stupid to say, but you know, like with Stephen King, like if you don't buy his books, like within the year or two that they come out, then you're essentially, if you want it in hardback, you have to buy it used. I don't know what it is with his publishers and why they hate him. But like, I was like, oh, but what if Game of Thrones and also Outlander, I did it with Outlander as well. I was like, what if, but I don't know why the publishers apparently just continue to print those in hardback. They don't mind it. That's why I bought them all. Cause I was like, what if, when I do get into it and then I want book number 2, I can't find it, new. And so that's why I bought them. I mean, I also have a book bag problem. It's fine. But I also, a lot of the times when I buy like full series like that, I'm not just going to go and buy like a full series of a book that doesn't have like good book forever vibes. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like Game of Thrones is going to eventually be a modern class. I mean, it's probably is like a modern classic at this point, but eventually in like years to come, I feel like it's going to be like on the same level as Lord of the Rings classic wise. And so it didn't bother me to buy it all because I'm like, I feel like 20, 30 years from now, if it takes me that long to get to it, I feel like it's still going to be good books versus like buying Twilight now and then 20, 30 years, it's going to, it doesn't hold up. That's where was I going with this? Where is it going? What was I talking about? Oh, so when I was talking about reading Game of Thrones, which we did a buddy read and I failed at it. Sorry about that. A lot of people said to at least watch episode 1 before you read the books so that you could like match the characters to who they are, and it's whatever. Sorry. Anyway, like I'm on some cold medicine, okay? I've been through a whole bottle of, what's it called? NyQuil, like the extra strength nighttime one, and then a bottle and a half of the DayQuil. So, but we're coming out of it, I feel like, which is good because I've been sleeping a lot. Game of Thrones is dark as hell. The thing is like, I feel like that would be like, that's the kind of fantasy that I would like. I feel like when I think of fantasy, I think of dark in general, but I feel because of like my taste in other areas, with the exception of romance, I don't like dark romance, but like I like my thrillers to be really dark. I like Stephen King's my favorite author, and if anyone's dark, it's Stephen King. I feel like a lot of the times when I read thrillers and they're not dark enough for me, I can't even give it a 5-star because I'm like, you had the supplies, the plot, the characters. You could have made this so much darker than what it was, and you went out with a, I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna like them. We'll see. And a lot of people always recommend Joe Abercrombie and Game of Thrones to me because they say it's like the grimdark. I don't know. Anyway, ran into the issue while stocking up on 2 fantasy series. Hardback's over $100 used. See, that's why like I crash out sometimes and I just buy them. I've also found that horror is a genre that if you don't get the hardbacks soon, which I get, that makes sense. See, in my brain, Stephen King is his own genre. I forget that he's part of horror, but the horror genre is the worst. So like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, is that what it's called? The movie, there's also a book. If you to find that book, you're going to pay hundreds of dollars to find it. That's crazy. Horror is crazy. When they don't, it's like they publish 6 hardback copies and then that's it. You got to get paperback or used. Good luck. Because I have these Thomas Harris books. I had to buy the second 2. I bought those secondhand. I can't find the first 2 in hardback without paying hundreds of dollars. That's why I have those in mass market of the Red Dragon, the Hannibal Lecter series. Anyway. I too, you know how much money? I feel like Stephen King's publishers are stupid because I feel like they would make more money because they don't get, Stephen King nor his publishers get any money from secondhand sales, which is why I feel like price gouging is so stupid. Like I would rather bootleg a book than pay someone $1,000 to read a book, because if I'm paying you $1,000 for your copy of your book, Stephen King's not getting a penny of that. So why are we? I don't know. I don't understand it. I didn't bootleg a book, but that was just I don't understand the price gouging of books. Maybe if it's a special edition, then sure, that's why it's special. But like a regular schmegular old book, that's not even a first, like to find it in like, where's it at? I'm sure there. And that cover, they're expensive. And even like the non-first edition ones are expensive. For what? For what? I'm sorry I wasn't alive when they were first printing them out. I Googled Tom and apparently he's in the Rings of Power show. And hold on a second. You Googled Tom. Tom from Lord of the Rings is in the Rings of Power show. What's the Rings of Power show? Ricky? What's the Rings of Power show? I hate when the hunt for hardback becomes an epic quest all by itself. And that's why I still haven't finished. I can't find a copy of Salem's Lot anywhere. I started just to focus on them in publication order. Because I know there are some that I don't have that I can still get from Amazon, like Gwendy's Button Box or whatever. And then like a couple of the Sleeping Beauties or whatever. But like I've been trying to get like the whatever. I can't find them. Or they're like really beat up. Game of Thrones, but I really enjoyed it. I like my fantasies dark too. Stephen King is an acquired taste, and it is. Stephen King, yeah. I feel like a lot of people either really hate Stephen King or they really love Stephen King. I feel like if you are a character I don't know. It's definitely an acquired taste. And not every book is a banger. But I feel like the books that hit are really good. But yeah, I've read a few that I don't like. I feel like his newer stuff though is really, I don't know. A lot of people will be like, oh no, his classics, his older work is his best work. But I feel like his newer stuff is really good as well. Like Billy Summers, I really liked. 11/22/63, I really liked. I've read all of the Game of Thrones books and I'm still waiting on the 6th. I don't think we're ever going to get the 6th. I feel like I've seen an interview where either he's talking about it or somebody asked him something or whatever. And I feel like he like hinted as to like there wasn't going to be it. I feel like and this was back when I first started reading Stephen King, which I think was during the pandemic. And like I read one book by him and then I just wanted to like get to know the author. You know what I mean? So I went and looked up some interviews online and there was one with him and what the fuck's his name? George R.R. Martin. And I feel like he like kind of hinted that it wasn't going to happen. I feel like the show ruined it. Truthfully, I feel like if the show wouldn't have happened, he probably would have already put out. I feel like he doesn't want to let people down. And that's what it's like. That's why he hasn't put it out. But and then also I read somewhere that, you know how when Robert Jordan died, his wife contacted Brandon Sanderson and asked Brandon Sanderson to finish the Wheel of Time series. Well, people were speculating and saying, because, you know, I feel like Brandon Sanderson is also pretty close to Martin. And people were speculating that maybe he could also do George R.R. Martin, like finish up the Game of Thrones series. But somebody said that once he dies, his estate can't let anybody finish it for him. I wonder if there's like a loophole around that, though, you know? Because I feel like the author, what's her name? Is it LJ Shin? I don't know. Probably not. It's probably not it. The author that wrote The Vampire Diaries. So I read The Vampire Diaries back in a back day, but it was before the author switched. It was before the show even came out. And I want to say when she died, new authors took over and they kind of like rebranded it in a way to where it like, I don't know. And I feel like versus if you look at the last 3 books of the Wheel of Time series on the cover, it still has Robert Jordan's name, but it also says Brandon Sanderson at the bottom. But I don't think that's the case when it came to the Vampire Diaries books and the original author versus the new authors that took over. Also, I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. But I don't think he's young. I think he's like 80 now. Let's see. Why all these authors got RR in their thing? Oh, my kid's hollering. He's 77. So, you know. He's got a cute laugh, though, if you've ever heard him laugh. Like, if you've ever watched an interview with him. I wonder if you like dark romantasy. The thing is, this is why I don't like dark fantasy. I don't like abusive men. I don't. Sorry. So like I tried reading, I think 2 or 3. So like I tried to read, oh my gosh, what is it called? Is it called Mindfuck? No. It's called something else. And like the main girl character was being abused by her pedophile dad and like a bunch of other men, to where she grew up and she still had the mindset of a child and she thought she was Alice from Alice in Wonderland. I don't know. And that was just like too gross for me, to where she like still acted like a child and like doing sexual things. And I was like, not about that life. So I DNF that. And then I tried to read Hooked, I think it's called. And I'm sorry, but he was like, I don't know. Like in front of her, he was being sexual towards the other people that worked there. And I just, no. Mm-mm. And like, you're not going to be mean to me and then try to do the nasty. I don't think so. I'm not about that life. That's why I'm just like not, I don't think I'm a dark romance. No. I did read, no, if it's done differently, what are they called? Where are they at? Oh my god. Oh, Leather and Lark, Butcher and Blackbird. I read those 2 books. Those are different because like they're not mean. Like they're serial killers and they kill other people, but like they do anything, like they weren't mean to her. It wasn't like that kind of thing. And at this point, I don't want to like, and I also try to, is it called Den of Vipers? There was another book I tried to read, and I'm just like, I cannot get down with a man like this. Sorry, not sorry. So, unless it's a golden retriever doing bad things, then I don't think I can. Like if you've read a dark book or a dark romantasy book, and the guy's like never been mean to her and is like not abusive and not shoving gun handles up her hoo-ha, then maybe. But like I ain't about that life. I am a romantic person at heart. Okay. Don't make me call the popos, because I don't want to deal with no man like that. Got too many of them in real life. Why would I want to read about it? And that, okay. Romantic. Waiting for the 6th book is precisely why I haven't started it yet. I feel like that's a silly reason, though. I feel like I should show the things. I feel like a lot of people that I follow say that Game of Thrones is one of the best written fantasy books out there. And just to experience that, I feel like it would be worth it. I don't know. I say that and I haven't read it yet. But that's not the reason why I've been held back, because I've been intimidated. But I feel like reading The Lord of the Rings is making me feel like I can do hard things. I hope he has backup. Authors to sift through his notes to finish the series. We'll see, because 77. It's a show on Prime. But is it a show on Prime? Okay, wait. It's a prequel to The Lord of the Rings. It has, okay. What was it called again? Damn. Look, I have to like not watch TV because I need to read. I gotta sneeze. But we've been watching The Pit, and we've been just on like 2 episodes a night, and it's been really nice. So maybe I'll do that once we're done with The Pit. We are like season 2, episode 3, I think, in The Pit. We're getting there. Ring of Fire. What was it called? Rings of Power on Prime. My husband's going to do the NASCAR race tomorrow. Maybe I'll check it out and see what it is. Oh, it was a letdown. Okay. I'm interested in the theory that he's waiting until he dies to release the next book. Probably not true. You know what? I've also, because I feel like if I personally was a person that I feel like my sixth and final book would be a letdown, I too would also wait until I was dying before I would release it so I didn't have to hear the critiques on the book. So, I don't know. Did y'all know that the co-author of the Expanse series was an assistant for George R.R. Martin? No, I did not. I don't know much about them. I own 4 of the books, though. Somebody got really mad in my comment section because I hauled the 4th book. They're like, imagine buying a series and then not liking it. Imagine minding your own fucking business. What a concept. L.J. Smith. Close. Yeah. I think L.J. Smith died. I don't know. I never... This is how petty I was back in the day. I was reading them, and then I found out that, after... I think it was... I had the bind-ups. So I think I had 2 bind-ups, which was 4 books, I think. I don't know. It's been a long time since I read those books. And I was so petty. I was like, I'm not reading those. Those aren't by the original author. I only read original works. Thank you. What? What? Why?
I don't know.
You need medicine?
I tried to.
What do you mean? Oh. His ear hurts. I absolutely will read Game of Thrones, even if he ever finishes. I just have quite a few series that are complete that I want to get to, so I want to read them first, for sure. I think they just announced the next Expanse special edition versions of the later books. What? See? I bought the first 3, and then I was waiting and waiting and waiting to get the next 3, because I think they're releasing them 3 at a time, because isn't it like 3 trilogies together? Anyway, and then I would Google here and there, and I couldn't find anything about it. I even messaged the publishers on Instagram, and they never responded back. And so then I just recently bought the 4, because I was like, well, I'm just going to go ahead and buy the other ones in, and whatever. I'm glad I didn't buy all 6 of them that I was missing. I only bought 1, because if they do release the next Expanse versions and the newer special editions, I'll just get those. And I'll piss that person off and sell the other book that I just got. He had promised us Winds of Winter and a promise of spring, but I would settle for Winds of Winter. Apparently, there may have been a chapter. Oh, damn. Honestly, I think if people would leave him alone, that might help as well. Because, I think that's the reason why, not that I care, but I think that's the reason why Jessa Hastings hasn't released any more of the Magnolia Parks series, because people won't quit asking her when she's going to release them. And she said, this is what turned me off on this author, and I don't even know if I'm going to read her books, but she said that if people keep asking her, she'll release it, and when she releases it, she'll make sure that she kills off the main character or whatever. And I was like, that's you do realize the people that are asking you about this book are the people that pay your fucking bills by buying your books. You realize that, and you're gonna say that? Okay, Miss AI. Yeah, for December, I think. Okay, I want to read the standalone fantasy by George R.R. Martin, Windhaven. It sounds so interesting. I don't even know what that is. Let me look. I have one on my wish list. Let's see. I need a different drink because this Alani is nasty. Oh, it's with him and somebody called Lisa Tuttle. I hadn't heard of this. Oh, there's a graphic novel as well. Is there a hardback, though? Why would there not be? There is, but they're used. That's unfortunate. I feel like I have... So I've also got... So I bought one of the prequels, which is called Fire and Blood, and he's supposed to also come out with a second prequel that extends on that, and I don't think he's did that as well. He's just not good at finishing things. He's probably like me, and he's probably type C. Because that's my problem. I need something to drink. Did you see that? This is a thriller, not a fantasy, but the author that wrote The Chestnut Man has a new book coming out called Hide and Seek. Sir! He's going to tear up that chair, his claws. I wish there was a search where you can like search. Oh, there is. The Knight of the Seven Kingdoms is the one that I have on my wish list. So what is that? It has A Song of Ice and Fire in parentheses. So I'm assuming taking place nearly a century before the event. So this is another prequel book. Jesus, Mary, Joseph. I don't know. The Rise of the Dragon, an illustrated history. Interesting. Okay. Anyway. The Knight of the Seven Kingdoms is a short story collection, and they all take place in the same world. Got it. I probably don't need to buy it, though, until I read Game of Thrones. I'm in the mood to buy a book, though. I've been scrolling Waterstones earlier today to see if there was anything from that side of the world I wanted to order that was, like, different than what we can get over here. I haven't committed, though. The Tower of the Hand. I need to check some medicine. The Tower of the Hand. I know Katie is not here with us. I was really wanting to discuss future books for the book club. I feel like I don't want to do another series where we do like book 1 month, book 2 1 month, book 3 1 month. I feel like we can do first books in a series, but I feel like I don't want to do, because like sometimes you just want to binge them all at one time. Ooh, Game of Thrones. So, what is this month? May. No. Wait. Yes. So in May, we're going to be reading Return of the King. And then we're finally done with The Lord of the Rings, which is so exciting to like, you ever feel like, I feel like this is one of the things that once you read it, it gives you like this feeling of accomplishment. You know what I mean? Like after I finished Wuthering Heights, I felt so accomplished because I was like, I literally just read Wuthering Heights by myself. Okay. And then this one also it's one of those series that I've been wanting to read, but I've been so intimidated thinking that I wouldn't be smart enough to read this or I wouldn't be able to comprehend what's going on because it's like really fantasy. It's like really big and so many people love it. And if I get something wrong, people are going to get mad at me and blah, 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 blah. I have like this weird mindset to it. And now we're almost done. Got one more book to go. It's crazy. And then in June, we're reading People We Meet on Vacation. As of right now, I don't know when we're closing the poll, but as of right now, People We Meet on Vacation is the winning book because we were wanting a brain break book before we dive into anything else. That's going to be People We Meet on Vacation is number 1 slot. And then the second slot is tied with Margot's Got Money Troubles and Crazy Rich Asians. So I also want to really get to a lot of books. Really, a lot. Emma is one of them. East of Eden is one of them. I've been really thinking about East of Eden and The Count of Monte Cristo. But part of me is like, Beth, you need to read some shorter books first so that you can get back into the groove of reading because of this weird slump that I literally only read 3 books in the month of April, which is crazy. I've been itching to read Lord of the Flies since it's short a classic and the Netflix adaptation either just came out. I also saw Animal Farm just had an adaptation that came out yesterday. And also Little Women. Yes, Ricky, sorry. Look, I've been in such a reading slump. Let me tell you, in April, I started like 6 books that not included in the 3 that I actually finished. I finished 3 books in April. I read The Fellowship of the Ring, which I read most of that technically in March, and I finished it on like the 1st or 2nd of April. And then I read The Whisper Man. And then I tried to read Under the Dome, though I feel like The Whisper Man is what put me in a slump. And then Under the Dome, not that it was bad, but it was like so many different characters. And I was like I couldn't focus enough to like keep track of who's who because I just wasn't in the mood to read, honestly. And so I like, what do you call that? Soft DNF'd it. I will get back to it. And then I tried reading, what's it called? Divine Rivals. And I think I made it like 50%. And it's not bad, but it's just like, it's not like good enough to like, there's no, like, going into this book, I'm like, oh, this is like a romance in a sense of this, like this rival workers, this magical typewriter. But like, I'm like 50% in and I don't give a fuck if they fall in love or not. And like, to me, like that says a lot. So I just kind of put that aside. I was like, I'll finish it another day. And then I also started Crown of Midnight. And I started that one on audio. And I felt like I was passively listening to it. So I need to go back and re-listen to it. Like I was listening to it, but I was like zoning out, you know?
So it's a young boy.
Girl, I didn't say start. Probably not even. I'm middle of chapter 8. I'm going to have to restart that one from the beginning because the thing is like, once I start scrolling on TikTok, I then get invested in all of these different people. And I'm just like wanting to, I don't know. Every day I'm like, oh, I wonder if they posted something else. I don't know. It's so stupid. Or then like, I've been really into cooking shows, cooking TikToks and like finding recipes to cook that are like on the healthier side of things. And then I was watching during Coachella, I was watching the live like performances of Coachella. And then they did Stagecoach. I was following all the creators that were vlogging Stagecoach. And then, I don't know. And then it's like I feel like once you get sucked into something like TikTok, it's like you're so used to like the instant gratification? I don't know. It's like boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? And then I go and try to watch a YouTube video and I'm like, this is taking too long. I can't even focus. I can't even get to 2 minutes of the story. I don't know. I've been in a slump everywhere. Reading slump. I'm not filming any videos slump. I'm just like very slumpy-ish. You know? 'Tis life. Yeah. I've been working on the same cross stitch project right here since like sometime in March, I think. And I've just done the eagle's head and that's it. TikTok has ruined more than just YouTube for me. And then I get also sucked. So like when I post on TikTok, this is the thing. I've been trying to post a lot more on TikTok and stuff. And like when I start posting more is when I find myself constantly opening the app because I want to open the app to go like respond to comments or whatever. And then I start scrolling. And then I also post on Instagram. So then I want to go and like, then I get sucked into the reels on Instagram. And it's just like 10 hours go by and I'm still fucking scrolling TikTok. It's literally dangerous out there. You're reading Count of Monte Cristo, but really slowly. I hear it so good. I just feel like I need the finish a book to happen before I dive back into like a thick book, you know, because I've barely finished anything. I need like that high of like boom, boom, boom before I dive into something that's thick again, if that makes any sense. Don Quixote. I feel like I'm not in the reading slump at all. I love the books I'm reading, but my attention span is lacking. I'll read 5 pages and then feel like I need to check my phone. That's also, it's not like, okay. I don't think I'm in like a reading slump. It's like it's like not like the things that I'm reading are not bad or anything like that. It's just I'd rather be on my phone. Essentially. I'd rather be on my phone. And that's not good. My screen time is probably diabolical. We have been watching The Pit. The episodes are an hour long. And we probably watch like 2 or 3 per night, depending on like what's going on with Paul. Because Paul is in like a gaming league. So some nights Paul is in a gaming league, and he also has a Discord that he's like an admin of, and they have like tons of people in. And so he's like having to assign people different league partners. And I don't know, he's like has his own thing going on as well. And so some nights he has that. They have like a meeting, they have like a league race, they have all that kind of stuff. So some nights we only watch 1 episode, and then some nights we watch 3. And I have been forcing myself that if we're watching an episode of The Pit, I'm not allowed to touch my phone. So that's been good. But then as soon as we're done watching The Pit, I'm in bed scrolling on I got back into Kindle Unlimited probably 2 months ago, and I haven't even finished a book on it. I've been paying for Kindle Unlimited for free for no reason. Not for free. I've been paying for it, but like I haven't even finished a book. And I used to like read on my Kindle every night, put myself to sleep, and now I've just been scrolling on TikTok and finding myself awake at 3 o'clock in the morning. Anyway, trying to read all of Sarah J. Maas before October. That's my plan too. I got Throne of Glass done in March, and I tried to do Crown of Midnight last month. Again, I only got to chapter 8. So after this live, I'm going to start over on Crown of Midnight and hopefully read that tomorrow. That'd be like the next book that I read and complete. And then we're going to try not to go too far in between each book, so I don't have to start over again at Game of Throne of Glass. Because that's what happens to me a lot is I'll read 1 book and then I take way too long to pick up the second book. So then I don't remember anything in the first book. So I have to reread the first book. Also, I get a lot of comment. Like when I mention this, I'm so tired of having to fight for my life because people are like, cool concept. You could just read the summary. Cool concept. You're fucking blocked is what I want to like. The thing is like, why would I buy books and not reread them? People are like, there's too many good books in the world. There's too many books in the world for me to reread anything. Do you never rewatch a movie? Same concept. It might take me longer to get through a book, but it's literally the same concept. Do you not re-listen to a song? There are millions of songs in the world. Do you not re-listen to any of them? Do you not rewatch your favorite episodes of Criminal Minds? You know, like it's like, I don't mind rereading books. Actually, I've never regretted rereading a book. Actually, sometimes I reread books and the reread makes me love the book even more. You know what I mean? Like that, to me, that's crazy, but people are very passionate about that. They're like, I have never reread a book in my life, but they have 1,000 books behind them. Then why buy a book if you have if you don't ever plan on rereading the book? Then why buy the book? Just get it from your library. I go in with my purchases hoping that I'm going to love it enough to where I want to reread it. You know what I mean? I don't know. I like to reread books. Then also, I have the memory of like a goldfish. I was going through my Goodreads the other day and I was like, I read that? I don't even remember that book. I read that? I don't even remember that book. I don't even remember what happened in this book. And what book somebody asked me about the other day, and I was like, I ain't gonna lie to you. I gave it 5 stars, but I couldn't tell you a single thing that happened in that book, which is a good time to like reread it. You know what I mean? Because if it was 5 stars before, it's most likely going to be a 5 stars again for the most part. Sometimes, reading change, like you grow. Your reading buds change. But for the most part, though, they don't. What book was it? I think it was Red Rising. And I was like, I don't even remember what happened in that book. And I read it. And that means I need to reread it. Anyway. I also feel like The Pit is one of those shows where if you scroll while watching due to how fast-paced the show is, you'll easily miss important things. And I have to watch The Pit. I'm watching The Pit like this. Or I'll have we have a crochet blanket on the couch and it has like the holes in it and I like hold it up. I can't watch anything with blood. Like I don't want to watch them like break a nose or when the guy's armpit bone was coming out of his armpit or when that lady was delivering the baby. Like I've seen medical shows, but like I feel like this is the most because we watched maybe like the first 6 seasons of Grey's Anatomy. And then we've stopped and then we ain't continued on, but I was having bad dreams like watching that. I think I was pregnant when we were watching it and it was making me have really bad anxious dreams. And I was like, we can't watch any more of that. But in this one, like I've watched episodes where people have babies, but never in my years did I expect we were going to see a whole head come out of a vagina on a TV. You know how many PPs I've seen on The Pit? They really go above and beyond with the graphics on this show. Reading buds. Can you see fever in my eyeballs? Is that a thing? I feel like I'm running fever. I don't know if I am or not. I better not be. I'm tired of this grandpa. At least my throat's not hurting anymore because that sucked. What are you rereading, Kelsey? I just reread Jurassic Park after 15 years, and I'm so glad I did. It was just lukewarm. I was just lukewarm on it when I read it last time, but this time I loved it. So when you read Jurassic Park, do you think... So I tried to read it a couple years ago, and I felt like it was very science-y, and I love the original trilogy. I've only seen one of the new movies, but I didn't continue on because I just have so much love for the original trilogy. I don't want to, like, you know what I mean? I don't want to, like, anyway. But I tried reading the book, and I felt like it was a very, like, sciencey. And I was like, I don't think I'm going to understand this. Or does it just like the beginning? Like, do you get in a groove? Does it get easier as you read? I love a reread. I want to reread 11/22/63 so bad. but Katie and I have just talked. We haven't like solidified anything, but we have talked about making 11/22/63 our November's pick. So if so, I will wait and read it in November. The Pit is good. It's like, it's good. I hate diving into shows when there's only like 1 or 2 seasons. I love finding a show that you love to watch and there's like 26 seasons. Oh, sign me the fudge up. There's only 2 seasons, and I want to say the 3rd season comes out in January. And in season 2, so each season's 15 episodes, and each season is 1 shift. So like episode 1 is the first hour of his shift. Episode 2 is the second hour of his shift, which I think is such a cool thing. And then like at the end, like they're all getting off work. And then season 2, it's like 10 months later. It's another day of his shift. And I think season 3, I read it's going to be in the winter time. So I think it's when he's coming back from his sabbatical. But I like it. I think season 1, I liked the lady at the front desk, the blonde lady. Season 2, she isn't as like, I don't know, her character, she feels a little different in season 2. Season 2, I'm really liking, what is his name? Whitaker? With like the modern mohawk or whatever it's called. I really like him. And I like, what's her name? I don't know their names. Hang on. I'm hoping that like in season 2, the Robbie, and then there's like another doctor there that's to take his place while he goes on sabbatical. Part of me is like, oh, I hope they fall in love at the end. But then I had to remind myself like that this is literally one day. They gonna fall in love in one day. Be so for real. See, it's sad. I cry in every episode. I don't think there's an episode that I have not cried in. It's so good. There's an episode, there's like a drowning situation that happened. That one, Paul was even crying. That one was intense to watch because it was not only just drowning, but there was like a few other things going on as well. And then the second to the last episode of season 1 was also really hard to watch. And I was crying. I liked Langdon at first, but then I don't really care for him anymore. Dana is the one that I liked in season 1. Samira. I like Samira, I like Whitaker, and I like Robbie. And King, Dr. King, I also like her. I like them all, really. I don't like Santos. That's the only character that I don't like. I don't like her. She licks her lips too much. Reminds me of Gypsy Rose. I'm like, can you just go through a sentence without licking your lips, please? Thank you. Anyway, when I have fever, my eyeballs feel cooked. That's what I'm saying. Like, I've been sick since, I don't know. My kids were sick last week, and I got sick after them. And it hasn't been as bad in the sense I haven't had, like, the cold part. Hasn't really, like, I haven't been sneezing. I haven't had, like it's kind of runny, but not like, like when you get, like, a cold, you get, like, water faucet. I haven't had that. I haven't had, like, stopped up nose or nothing. And I think it's because I take zinc, and zinc is supposed to be really good at, like, making your colds go away really fast. I ran out, though. And so, like, the first 2 days that I was sick, I didn't have any. I had to wait for them to come in. But then as soon as I started taking them, I feel like it's clearing up really quickly. Anyway, sorry. But now I feel like I'm running fever. I haven't run fever this entire time, but, like, I feel like I get the fever headache, and I can feel it in my eyeballs. That's so strange, but I'm glad I'm not the only one. I definitely had to read Jurassic Park with my eyeballs because there are pages when it shows a computer screen, and seeing it visually helped me understand it better. See, I was reading it on my Kindle. So this was back when Everend, or it was Scribd, and you can get ebooks or audiobooks. Can you get ebooks still? I don't know. And I got it as like an ebook from Scribd. I think this was before I even listened to audiobooks. I didn't start listening to audiobooks until I think like 2022. Before that, I didn't listen to audiobooks. But my husband showed me the world that is audiobooks. So I think I was reading it on a Kindle because I don't have it. And every time I go to Half Price Books to look for it, they never have it. Ever. They have some of his. Speaking of Jurassic Park, did you know he created ER, which is like, the Pit is not a spinoff of ER because the main guy, Robbie, plays in ER, but his character is a completely different name in ER. But a lot of the people that play in the Pit also played in ER. Some of them only was in like 1 or 2 episodes though. But anyway, sorry. I think that was discussed in the Discord. I don't know. It's more science focused. The second half is more action. I'm not going to reread Silver Elite. I'm just going to raw dog the sequel and hope it makes sense. Silver Elite, that sounds familiar. Is Direbound good? I've been seeing it everywhere, Direbound. And I can't trust Chris and Mad's opinion on Romantasy because I feel like especially even when they did their tier, they put like Fourth Wing pretty high up there, which is crazy because they both gave Onyx Storm a 1 star, which is appropriate. But I did love Fourth Wing, but I think she ruined the whole thing by making them fall in love so fast. And then all they do is argue now, and it just pisses me off. Like, grow up. Me and my husband don't ever argue. Me and my ex-husband, we argued all the time to the point where we never slept in the same room. Toxic. I thought Diarbound was decent, like super predictable, but I think people who don't read much romantasy will really enjoy it. But I definitely want to read book 2. And yeah, Beth, OMG, the drowning scene and the homemade card that made me. Paul was crying, and I looked over. I was like, "Are you crying?" He was like, "How could you not cry?" And it's just like, because our kids are that age, and it was just like, it's definitely. And then in the second to the last episode, when he broke down and was crying in that room, that was hard to watch as well. Because like in the pit, he looks like if something were ever to happen to me and I was in the hospital, I would want him to be my doctor. Like he just looks like he is that bitch. And then he broke down. I was like, oh no. But I cried in almost every episode. Yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, I caught up on all the comments. So yeah, that's life. This is the Alani Nu flavor I'm drinking. I don't like it. I know Kelsey, I think, but okay. This is the new one. This is the lime slush. I have to drink this super cold, fresh out the icebox. If it starts warming up, I don't like the taste. And it's the same with cotton candy. This and the cotton candy one have that same like aftertaste, and I don't like it. It smells good, but it's like I did make this dirty though, and it was really good. And it was like this, and then maraschino cherries, and the cherry juice, and then I put some sweet cream in it, and it was really good. Yeah, it tastes good cold, and that's my problem. Is I'm not like a I can open up a can of Diet Coke and it lasts me like 3 hours. Like I'm a sipper, and so it gets hot, and I didn't put it in a brewmate, and that's probably my main problem is it's hot, and once it's hot, I don't like the taste of it. My hip hurts. Anyway, so yeah, so crazy. Hang on. This is all the notes that I took from this, and then I did a couple questions on my notes app. But then that was for the 2 towers, okay? Because last time when I was taking notes on the fellowship, the thing is like I thought I was like, oh, I'm gonna come on here and I'm gonna look like an idiot if I don't know, everything about the fellowship and whatever. And so I was taking notes, and it took me forever. And so this is my notes for the fellowship, okay? Front and back, mind you. Yeah. And then for the 2 towers, it was just the one page. That's crazy. I saw a recipe. Where did I see it at? Hang on. I think I saved it in my tabs or my Pinterest board. Or somewhere. There was a recipe of like a pastry dish or something that I wanted to try that was like Lord of the Rings inspired. Also, there is a restaurant in Houston. It's a cafe, and it's a Hobbit inspired restaurant, but it's like it's a cafe. I don't think it's decorated to be like the Hobbit. I think it's just they have Hobbit inspired food. But there was this recipe I was looking at earlier. Honey cakes or something. I think it's honey cakes. or strawberry pudding. I think it was honey cakes. Anyway, I think I'm going to try a recipe as well. So I have The Hobbit, Bjorn's honey cakes, twice baked honey cakes from The Hobbit. And then also, hey, that one doesn't look great. Anyway, watermelon fruit salad with lime and mint dressing. I've been watching, not book related. That's fine. We don't, we can talk about whatever. Not book related entirely, but adjacent. I love your glasses. They are a pair I wear. These are the Murphy frames. These are the Murphy frames from Pair Eyewear. I will say this. I do have some things that you clip on to the front. If you talk a lot with your hands, be careful because I knock I have like the sunglasses thing that goes on the front. And sometimes if I film a TikTok or a reel, I'll have on glasses that are like tortoise. That's these. And I just have the tortoise frames clicked on them. I don't wear them like just casually because I constantly knock them off. And so just be wary of that. But these are the Murphy frames and they do come in different colors. I would like another pair and I would just get them in black. Bye, Carly. Have a good dinner. It's only 6. No, I say it's only. Normally, I feel like last time we did a live, I think we started late. Stop, Kaiser. Anyway. But yeah, these are pair I wear. I feel like I was going to say something and now I forgot what I was going to say. I also have Lord of the Rings cross stitch. I need to pull out and work on that too. I need to go through all of this. Oh, this is my Pride and Prejudice family thing because I'm not good with names. And so when they have all these different people, I have to write something down or I'm going to forget. So I have like my Pride and Prejudice one, my Lord of the Rings one. And I think this is actually only the people from book 1. Yeah, because I don't have the trees or anything in here. Besides Old Man Willow. Anyway. SVG files to try the frames. You can go, well, I don't know if you have. I know the place where I got mine from, you can go in and try them on and you can eat. These are like the biggest frames. They have one that's a little bit smaller, but you can try them on and you can also try them on with the different click things as well. And they're not expensive. Like once you have the actual frame, if you do like the click things, they're like $25. Now I know someone who does like the click things and she has a stack because like they're magnetic so you can stack them all up together. She has this she probably has like 20 different frames that she interchanges out. I'm just like too, I don't know, handsy, I guess. And I'm constantly accidentally like knocking the frame off. So that's the only reason why I don't wear them. Otherwise I would wear the different colors. Because you know what inspires me with glasses is Penelope Garcia from Criminal Minds and how like every day she has on a different pair of glasses. And that was my mindset going with these. I was like, I could like change up my color of glasses anytime I wanted to wear my glasses. So then I bought 2 like things, you know, and then when I realized that I keep knocking them off, might not be a good thing for me, but it'd be cool to like have, you know, like if you're just wearing plain clothes, you can just pop on hot pink glasses or something. I don't know. Anyway. So yeah. Have y'all bought any good books lately? I feel like, so I've been trying to mainly stick to books that I have on my physical TBR so that I could get my TBR number down. And I feel like that's also part of like my not reading anything. Because it's like I get interested in other books that I don't own. But then I feel like I can't read them because I need to focus on books that I actually have on my TBR. You know what I mean? I'm going to throw that mindset in the trash. And if I want to read a book that I don't have on my TBR, then I'm going to read a book that I don't have on my TBR. So if you have any recommendations, let me know. Removable vinyl for shoppers. Oh, that's what you meant by SVG files. That'd be cool. I feel like you would have to like really be good with the placement. But that would work. I wouldn't get like the I don't have a Silhouette anymore, but I used to own like a planner sticker shop, and I did decals and all that kind of stuff. And so I used to have a bunch of Silhouettes. And I find that, is it Oracle? It's been some years now since I used to do decals and stuff. I find the vinyl that you get that's actually like Cricut brand or Silhouette brand is like the shittier vinyl and easier to come off versus the kind that you get from like vinyl stores, the good kind. I wouldn't use the good kind because like then I feel like it would be a bitch to get off. I really only buy the sell books for books I've had on my TBR. The last physical book I bought was the John Glenn pre-order. Before that, I can't even remember. I wish that could be me. I feel like I'm a minimalist. Not a minimalist like that, but like out of everybody that I know personally in real life, I have the least amount of stuff. And people who come over to my house, they always have, not like, they're not rude about it, but they always say stuff like, you know, your house gives asylum vibes. Because like, I don't have stuff besides this room. Like if you were to go into the other rooms of my house, I don't have like stuff, right? I don't have like, I don't know. I did buy, I got it for free. The hutch thing, like in my kitchen area, and I hate it. I hate it so much. I've been begging my husband to get rid of it because it just, like, one, it just gives me an excuse to like buy stuff to put in it to decorate it, and it makes me feel like, I don't know. I don't like having like that, and like all of my silverware and utensils and stuff fit in one drawer, you know, versus like if you would have went to my grandma's house, she had like 5 drawers of just silverware and serving utensils and knives, and all of mine fit in one little drawer, right? One little drawer. I'm very like minimal in that sense. And so like we have 2 sets of sheets and they're the same. And so like when I'm washing one, I put the other one on, and then I fold that one and put it on the shelf. And then when I switch it out, so I have 2 sets of sheets. And then when one set goes bad, I get rid of the whole set so that I don't have like stragglers, like this random sheet that doesn't match anything. I don't know. But when it comes to books, I feel like books is my only like books. And then, well, not even, because I do get overwhelmed a lot with like hobby stuff. So like yarn, I have quite a bit of yarn and it bothers me. I've gotten rid of a lot of yarn. Like I posted on my neighborhood group free yarn, and they came and got it. Because I just get overwhelmed with it. I feel like it's because my grandmother wasn't a hoarder per se. Pretty close though. Like her house was clean, but she gonna have shit everywhere. Okay, not like on the floors and stuff, but like kitchen cabinets. I like them to be cleared off with just like, you know what, like a picture, and then your little thing for your big silverware, and then that's it. My grandmother would have all of her medicine over here, and then all of her vegetables crammed on this, whatever. And so it would be like very, overwhelming, I guess, to all of her she would have an entertainment center with all of her little knickknacks everywhere. And like Sundays when it was like house cleaning day and you had to dust everything was a nightmare. So I don't have knickknacks really, which is also like in my book room, all I have like knickknack wise is this bust of Stephen King. Hang on. And then this little teddy bear is actually my son's ashes. So that's not a knickknack. I have this globe, but this globe is technically my husband's globe. Like we went to Home Goods one time and he was like, oh, that's so cool. I'm going to buy it. And I'm like, where are we going to put that? For real. Be so for real. And so that's where we put it. And then this is a speaker for music. But I don't like, and then like, you know, my TBR jar. I try not to do like a lot of knickknacks and stuff. I have a candle. But that's different. Like I like the candle to make my house smell good. Hello. Where was I going with all this? I don't even know. Oh, but like when it comes to books though, the limit does not exist. That's the problem. Is like I feel like I'm minimalistic, like minimal-ish everywhere else in my life, but when it comes to books, I'm just like the limit does not exist. But to be fair, I do unhaul. If I read a book and I don't like it, I'm not keeping it. Sorry about it. It's not happening. So to be fair, I don't hoard them like that, but I hoard them. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yes, the Parade of Horribles comes out this coming week, right? Or the next week? This coming week? I think it's this Tuesday. I have that whole series. That's a red flag for me. I have the whole series, but I've only read the first book. But I'm still going to buy that one too. That's another series that I probably could just binge through. I want to read Rebecca as well by Daphne du Maurier. But this is the problem that I have with that book is I cannot find an edition that I like. And it irks me to my core that, so like these are all the same edition. They look different, but they're all Penguin Deluxe Classic, whatever. So they're all the same height, whatever. And if you like touch them, they all have like the same textured book, whatever. And then these up here are also all Penguin, you know? And so I want it in like either this or that. But I don't like the covers of all of the editions that I have found. That's what's been putting me off. But I do want to read it because I feel like out of all classics, that's the classic that I feel like I would like. It's given thriller, you know? I just hoard and collect everything. I get so many comments, especially like it's my own fault because I put my own self out there to get these comments, but people are always like, oh, you are overconsumption's final boss. Like if you feel like a book is overconsumption, let me send you this TikTok of these kids not knowing how to read and they're in school, not knowing how to read the word silhouette. And you think buying books is overconsumption? No, sir. We all need to be buying books at this rate, okay? We all need to be opening up a book, okay? I have 3 children. No, sorry. Well, technically I have 3. Well, I have one. I have a son that was a stillborn, which is the ashes that I have. And then I have 2 Earthside. I don't know what you would call them, regular kids. A 6-year-old and a 7-year-old. How do I word it without being bleak? You know, it happened a while back in my first marriage, which is why I guess I don't talk about it a lot because, you know, why is it overconsumption when it's a, oh, okay, sorry. The StreamYard like cuts off the last comment, like I can't read it. True, this is 100% true because if it were tennis shoes, it wouldn't be overconsumption. If it were perfume bottles, it wouldn't be. Well, I guess it would be. Well, I've seen people collect. There's one. I'm not no shade to these people. Like I literally have an ungodly amount of books. Like no shade whatsoever. But I follow this one girl on TikTok, and she collects bath scrubs, like the Tree Hut bath scrubs. She's got a whole cabinet full, like a whole like display pantry of just Tree Hut scrubs. What does my husband collect? I feel like everybody has their like thing, you know what I mean? Unless you are like a true minimalist. But like when I tell you I am like, so purses, I own 2, right? Just 2. I'm like, I don't, now before I had kids, I bought a lot of stuff. But now that I have kids, I'm just like, my kids make enough mess. I don't need other things to whatever. I gotta sneeze. I will say, sorry, I gotta sneeze. I will say sometimes I do get a little overwhelmed with Kaiser, quit. I do get a little overwhelmed sometimes. And I think it's like when my life is overwhelming at the moment, like when I feel overwhelmed in just life in general, is when I also feel overwhelmed with the books on my shelves. And that's typically when you'll see me upload a video of hauling $100. I do get that, or like I'll get like, is it called decision fatigue? I don't know, when I come in here and I don't know what to read next, and then there's too many books on my shelves. But if you also think about it, like if I only had books on my Kindle, I feel like I would still come across decision fatigue because there's so many books in the Kindle library, you know what I mean? Or like the library in general, I would still also feel that when I go to the library to get a book. So I don't know. And I just like them. I've been a reader my whole life though. So I also, like, some people will comment and be like, to buy that many books just for social media is diabolical. But like before YouTube was even invented, I had bookshelves full of books. Okay. I have read my whole life. I have had a big collection of books my entire life. I remember, now I take that back. When I was in high school, I only read from the library. So whether it be my school's library or we would go to the like public library. So I only read from the library. But when I graduated high school and I got my first job, bet your bottom dollar Beth was at the Goodwill. Okay. This was back when you was making $6 an hour. And I lived on my own, paying my own rent. So I was eating ramen noodles, and going to the Goodwill to buy books. And I had my little book collection going. Could not afford cable, could not afford internet, could not afford a computer. I had a flip phone, and I had my books from the library. And I've had books ever since. I've never not had books. And it's just like, I don't know. And it's so crazy because a lot of the books that I had back in the day, I don't have no more. I rotate my books out. Not super, like, but often, but like I rotate them out. And so I wish I would have never deleted my first YouTube channel, because I had a YouTube channel. I started it in 2011. And back then I had black bookshelves, and they were crammed with like The Mortal Instruments, Twilight, Vampire Academy, just like all of those kind of like, what is it called? Those YA books. It was all like, I had a room full of I've had a book room my entire life. I think the only time I've ever not had a book room was when I just had my daughter, and so the spare room had to be her room. But then we moved and I had a book room, and we moved again and I still got a book room. And before her, I had a book room because I just have a lot of books. But I prefer them in a book room versus like out and about, because out of sight, out of mind. So the days when I just feel like my anxiety is high and I just have like 75 things on my brain, I don't like the clutter around. And so I just, not that this is clutter, but you know what I mean? I just shut the door and it's not there to worry about. Collecting when it's wine. That's crazy. Not an alcoholic, but a wine connoisseur. In my family, we feel more comfortable with a book in hand. See, I love that. My family is different. I think I'm the only person in my family that reads. My family, like not including Paul's family, but my family. Well, my mom's my grandparents, neither one of them read. Granted, my grandpa, so like my grandparents are Cajun, were Cajun because they're both gone now. But my grandpa was like Cajun French is his first language, right? So like the music that he listened to was Cajun French, like, and if you knew how to talk French, he was going to talk French to you. So I don't think he read because I honestly don't think he could read in English well enough. So like my grandmother took care of everything like that for her. But my grandmother didn't read. My grandmother was a shit talker, and her hobby included talking shit on everyone. And so everybody in my family is just like her. So when we go to family functions, all they do, if you're not in the room, just know you're being talked about. That's how they are. Like I guess it's immediate family. It's like my mom is dead. So like technically all that's like, it's so bleak to talk about. Technically that all that's left, because like my mom is dead, my grandparents are dead, and then 3 of my aunts are also dead. So all that's left is my one aunt and my one uncle, and then like their kids, and all they are lying ass shit talking people. That's all they do, which is why I don't ever really go visit them, because I don't want to be around that. They don't have hobbies. Not a one. But like they don't have savings accounts either. You know, like they don't. It's so like it's so weird. It's so weird. It's like, you know how they say like some people's family leaves them wealth. Mine just left me a big therapy bill, essentially. Versus like Paul's family is like complete opposite. You don't ever hear them talk about anybody. Like they're not that kind of, it's just that. And that's when it opened my eyes to how toxic my family was. Because then I look at Paul's family and they got hobbies and savings accounts and lives, and some of them read and some of them do other, you know what I mean? And then you have mine. Like they have no ambition in life. None. So I'm hoping I can like, so I have all of these books, right? And so if I read a book and I don't like it, or it's like a book that I don't want, like that I think like these books will eventually one day be my kids. You know what I mean? Like my husband also reads occasionally. My husband has a lot of hobbies too. So like, but his hobbies aren't like my hobbies where I can pile up, like I can cross stitch and listen to an audiobook at the same time. My husband's are not. Like he's either golfing or he's out fishing or he's doing his PlayStation shit. Like he doesn't really like pile his hobbies together. But like one day, so like these Stephen King books, I think I'm holding on to them because like my kids, what if my kids turn into Stephen King readers? They won't have to go scrounge, you know, somebody's, what do you call that? When people die and they have sales. I'll have them ready and waiting for it, or classic books or whatever. I'll have it for them, and hopefully they will become readers, and that will be their hobby, and their hobby won't be talking shit on people. You know what I mean? Literally. That's why, like, when my grandmother died in December. She had cancer, which my grandmother and I didn't have like a really like a close relationship, because my grandmother's just mean in general to me. And like there was a relationship, but it wasn't close. You know what I mean? And then when my grandmother died, or while my grandmother was dying, my cousin, who is like, so when my cousin, so we're 15 days apart. We were born the same year in the same month. We're 15 days apart. And my cousin, when she was a child, with the flu shot, she became sick, and that sickness turned into her having like it was juvenile arthritis as a child, but then turned into rheumatoid, whatever, arthritis as a grown adult. And so like everybody babied her growing up, and now they still baby her in her grown as age. And so like she's been, I don't know, she started drama with me, and I blocked her on everything. I blocked her on everything, and I blocked her husband on everything, and then it feels good. Anyway, even if it's a self-help book, I won't apologize for having a large collection of books. I can always find a book to recommend. Yeah. I don't think I can recommend any self-help books because I don't think I've read any self-help books. But yeah, I see people who have like families with that. So like Chris and Mads, I don't know if you are familiar with them. They're readers, and all of their siblings are readers, and their parents are readers, and their parents read the stories to them when they were kids. And like, so they read like Pride and Prejudice and Lord of the Rings and like Sense and Sensibility when they were children. And then they grew up to love that kind of stuff. And so I'm hoping that my kids aren't really interested right now in any of these kind of books because I tried reading them Percy Jackson book 1 and they didn't care. They were like ready to go do something else after the 3rd page. They're 6 and 7 though. And my daughter is like, so like my daughter's in 1st grade. In kindergarten, they're not teaching them to like read full sentences. They're just teaching them like words. You know what I mean? Or at least like my son, if you give him a small enough, like a sentence where it's like all small words, like the cat ran up, whatever, he can put it together. But my daughter is getting to the point where she can read paragraphs and understand the whole paragraph. You know, like she's getting to the comprehension part of it. So I'm hoping next year when she goes into 2nd grade, she really gets into it and she like wants to, because I bought her the Magic Treehouse books. And she'll open them randomly and read like a couple of sentences out of it, and then she'll put it back on her shelf. But she won't like sit there and read it. But I think my daughter has ADHD. I can just see like my ADHD traits in her. And so I think that's going to be a struggle, is her like setting down and being able to concentrate on just reading the book when she's, I don't know. Anyway, I'm hot. This is what I think I'm. So also this light right here is like blinded. The book Breathe Like a Bear is great for that age. I'm gonna have to write that down. Breathe Like a Bear. She really loves so at their school, her teacher uses, I was gonna say Mo Hater, not Mo Hater, Jesus. Oh my gosh, what is it? I just bought them a handful of the books. There's like a pigeon, and then he does one with like an elephant and a pig. Hang on. They use those books for Mo Williams. They use those books for their curriculum in a way. Like if you go into her classroom, she has the characters from his stories like up on her wall, like by her phonics board and by like whatever you'll see. And so Emerson, which is my daughter, she doesn't really she doesn't know books by authors yet, but she will say, like I have an iPad and they read Kindle Unlimited on my iPad, like the kids' books. And she'll say like, I want to read a Mo Williams book. So she's into those right now. But so she's getting used to like, she's just now figuring out like series and like, I don't know. And she's like just getting to like the comprehension stage. And I feel like if she actually sat down and focused on, they do read Pete the Cat. Both of my kids do. Pete the Cat's actually really good for my son. Because if you look at the Pete the Cat books, they'll have like one book that focuses on, what are those called? CVC words or whatever, where like, girl, it's been a long time since I've been in school. You know, like cave, or where the E is silent, so the vowel says its name. So I have like books that focus on that and books that focus on hard words, or books that, I don't know. Those are really good books as well, Pete the Cat. So Breathe Like a Bear. I'm gonna check that out. So we have a star system on our icebox, and I bought so like used to when we would do homework, she like if I'm like, okay, like let's read this, she would be like, I don't know that word. I'm like, girl, you got to look at the page. Or she'll be like up and down, jumping around, like not wanting to focus on anything. And so I was like looking up tips and tricks on how to get them to like just focus on it or whatever. And one of the tips was to like put a timer and to have it visual where she can like see the timer. And so I bought a timer that's like this big, and you wind it up and she can see like if it's 15 minutes when it goes, it's like the section for the 15 minutes is all blue, and she can see it going this way. And I'm like, if you just read for 20 minutes, you get a star on the board. And then when she gets like so many stars, it's silly things. It's like one time she got 5 stars, so they got to go to the Dollar General and pick out an ice cream. Or one time they got 5 stars and she wanted a rubber duck. So I ordered like a pack of rubber ducks off Amazon, and she got to pick the one that she wanted out of the little pack. Just little things like that. But my kids are very easy to please in this stage of life, which is nice. But I'll have to check out that book for her. Anyway, I'm so ready for this, whatever this junk is, to go away. But I do feel like better today, because past couple of days, there was one day where like, you know, when you're sick and you could feel like the fluid, like when you breathe, you could feel it moving at the bottom of your throat, and it would feel like I would like choke on it. Oh, that was the worst. I was afraid to go to sleep because I was like, what if I like choke on it in my sleep? But we're finally to like, I feel like we're finally, I don't know. But it is what it is. You got kids. Before my kids started school, we never got sick because we stay home a lot. Or when we go places, it's like we'll take them to the park, but it's normally like they just play by themselves. They're not really like with other kids. Or we would take them to, like, we go to the mall and we will do like the little play area, and it's just them. And then, but they would hardly ever get sick. And then when we started school last year, I'm telling you, I've been sick every month since my daughter started kindergarten last year. But I haven't been sick since October because I feel like I've figured out that my body needed some vitamin D and some K2 and some zinc. Because then when I ran out, I got sick again. You know. Anyway. Well, that's that, you guys. We've been here for a little over 2 hours, just chit-chatting and whatnot. We'll be here at the end of the month again. I don't know what day. I don't know if Katie's going to join us for the final book or not. I guess we'll find out. If I had to guess, I would say the 30th of May is when we'll be back. But we'll see. I will let you know. And we will be back to talk about The Return of the King by J.R.R. Tolkien, the last book in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. It's crazy that I'm reading the Lord of the Rings trilogy. That's crazy. Wow, it's 1:15 a.m. It is 7:16 p.m. for me here in Texas. Oh, and she's in New York. 8:16. It's still daylight outside. If I had to guess, it looks like it's 5 o'clock right now, but it's really 7:17. We're having boudin for dinner tonight, and a baked potato. I think I'm going to make my baked potato and then crumble my boudin up on the baked potato. That's going to be good. That's what I'm going to go do after I'm done here. But anyway, that's exciting. I'm hoping I can read the last book in the trilogy and also get to his biography that I have. So that way we have a lot of stuff. Like, I have a lot of more things on my brain to talk about. Meningitis has been going around the school. That's terrifying. I like something's been going around at my kids' school as well. We went up there. They do these things called nighttime wisdom. And we went up there and the teacher was like, one day there was like 10 kids absent. And she was like, that's when you know something happened the day before. Somebody was leaking on something. And then my kids were absent 2 days last week because of fever. And they had fever, and then my daughter had an ear infection and coughs. I want to read Jane Austen's bookshelf. And there's also another book too that I have on my list. A Jane Austen a year or something like that. But that one's more so, I think it just kind of like goes over the fashion of the time of Jane Austen and whatnot, like for you to better understand that time period and whatnot. Hang on, Kaiser. Kaiser's ready to get out. Jane Austen bookshelf. Dang. $30. But I started watching this oh, I don't remember what it's called. So I downloaded this streaming service that's like a UK based, I think it's called BritBox. And they had this Jane Austen like documentary style like series on there. And I started watching that, and they were talking about Jane Austen and her life and whatnot. And it was really good. But then I think it was episode 2, I had to cut it off because they started talking about her novels. And they were like going full into it, talking about the characters and like what was going on in the novels. And it was getting a little too spoilery for my liking. So I cut it off because they started talking about Northanger Abbey first. And so I cut it off. But once I'm like through her backlist, I'm going to go back and watch it. But if you have like the BritBox streaming service, it's on there. But I'm going to look at the Jane Austen's bookshelf because I do want to like, I feel like it's more fun. No, I don't want to. When it's dead authors, it's more fun to read their work and like go look at their lives and just like, you know, because it was more scandalous back in the day because we didn't know their every single thought because they didn't have TikTok and Twitter and all of that back in the back day. It might have been cool to have all. I know there's like a book of Jane Austen's letters of all the ones that her sister did not burn that you can read about her. Like we were talking about J.R.R. Tolkien earlier in this live about his life and some of just like the tip of the iceberg of things that that I read about him and how cool of a man he seemed. You know, versus I don't want to like dive into the life of Riley Sager. You know what I mean? Maybe one day. But I feel like a lot of the older ones, it's really cool to like look back on their lives and see. I feel like the further we go on in this live, I feel like the worse I'm getting. I need to go take some more medicine. So I feel like this is me signing off. But thank you guys so much for sticking around. We'll have to dive on one day and just chit chat and not have a itinerary of things today. Maybe some reading sprints. That would be fun. Is your name Kay? And I need to get back to filming because I ain't been filming either. But it's like it's hard to film book related stuff when you're in a slump, you know. But I have this idea that I want to read The Housemaid, is that what it's called, by Frida McFadden, and then The Last Mrs. Parrish, like read them back to back and do a video talking about all the similarities and to like fully have a verdict of, because I've read both, but I probably read them like a year or two apart. But I don't know, because you know, like word on the street is Frida McFadden copied The Last Mrs. Parrish to write that book. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, Ricky, you're still here. I might do some reading sprints later on this week. You know, maybe that'll help get me. But I need to go take some medicine, and then I need to make me some boudin potatoes. I think that's what I'm going to cook me. And my dog, I think he needs to go potty. because he's crying at the door. But thank you guys so much for hanging out. And that's it. That's all she wrote. Bye.